10 questions that drive women wild. Use with caution. Psychology tricks. Most men don't fail because they lack confidence. They fail because they ask questions that lead nowhere. How was your day? What do you do? Where are you from? These are safe, predictable, and forgettable. They invite polite answers, but they never create attraction. As Anouilh Nin once said, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are, and that's exactly where most men get it wrong. A woman is not drawn to surface-level conversation. She is drawn to how deeply she feels understood. There exists a different kind of question, the kind that doesn't stay on the surface, but reaches beneath it, bypassing logic and touching emotion. These are not ordinary questions. They are emotional triggers that create connection rather than simply gather information. While most men try to impress by talking about themselves, listing achievements, or proving their worth, the rare man does something else. He observes, he listens, and then he asks a question that reveals her. Because the truth is simple, women are not impressed by how much you say, they are moved by how deeply you understand. When you ask the right question, one that cuts through rehearsed answers and touches something real, you create a moment she didn't expect, and those moments stay with her. Among all such questions, there is one that stands above the rest, the kind that strips away her social mask and makes her feel emotionally seen in a way she rarely allows. It's not comfortable, but it's real, and that's why she remembers it. Understand this clearly. The power is not in the words themselves, but in the intention behind them. If you ask with hesitation, you lose the impact. If you ask with calm confidence and genuine curiosity, you create tension, depth, and connection. These questions are not for small talk. They create emotional intensity, force reflection, and open doors most people never dare to approach. And once a woman reveals something real to you, something she doesn't show the world, you are no longer just another conversation. You become a feeling she can't easily forget. So don't rush, don't perform, and don't ask just to impress. Ask to understand, ask to truly see, and ask with the presence of a man unafraid of depth, because in the end, the right question will always carry more power than the perfect answer. Question 1. What's the version of yourself you hide from everyone? What is essential is invisible to the eye. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And that is exactly where most men fail. They stay on the surface, asking safe, predictable questions, getting polite but empty answers, never stepping into the deeper emotional space where real attraction lives. So listen carefully, because this is where psychology tricks and female psychology begin to separate the average man from the one she cannot forget. When you ask a woman, what's the version of yourself you hide from everyone? You are not making small talk. You are opening a door most people never dare to knock on. You must understand this. Women are constantly adjusting themselves depending on who they are with, showing the polished version, the appropriate version, the version that fits expectations, but beneath all of that there are layers, ambition she doesn't always show, desire she doesn't always express, vulnerability she protects carefully, and when you ask this question directly, you are signaling something. Rare. You are not interested in the performance, you are interested in the truth. That is powerful, that is different, that is what makes her pause. Don't ease into it. Don't soften it. Be direct. That is the technique. Ask it early, right after basic conversation, when she still expects you to stay shallow. This is where psychology tricks work best, because timing creates emotional impact, and when depth comes unexpectedly. Her mind doesn't have time to prepare a perfect answer, so what slips out is real, raw, unfiltered, and that is where connection begins. You must watch her reaction carefully. She will hesitate, her eyes may shift, her tone may soften, because now she is making a decision. Do I stay safe, or do I reveal something true? And whatever she chooses, even if it's only a small piece of honesty, you have already changed your position in her mind, because in that moment, you are no longer like every other man who asked, "How was your day?" or "What do you do?" You are the one who saw beyond the mask. That is how to fall in love starts, not with grand gestures, not with endless talking, but with one question that creates emotional exposure and curiosity at the same time. But understand this clearly. Don't force it. Don't interrogate. Don't make her feel pressured. Be calm, be grounded, hold eye contact, and let silence do the work. Silence is part of female psychology because in silence, emotions rise to the surface. And here is the deeper truth most men miss. Attraction is not built by impressing her. It is built by making her feel seen in a way she rarely experiences. When you ask this question, you are not just learning about her. You are allowing her to experience herself more honestly in your presence, and that creates a subtle emotional pull she cannot easily explain. Use this wisely. Don't overuse it. Don't turn it into a routine. Be intentional. Because psychology tricks only work when they come from genuine curiosity, not manipulation. That is the difference between a man she forgets and a man she keeps thinking about late at night. And once she shares, even a little, acknowledge it. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it too much. Just accept it calmly, because acceptance builds safety, and safety deepens connection. That is how to fall in love unfolds naturally, not by chasing, not by forcing, but by creating moments where truth feels allowed. Remember this. Most men chase attention, but you must seek understanding. Most men stay on the surface, but you must go deeper. Most men wait too long to be real, but you must lead with depth from the beginning. That is the shift. That is the edge. And that is why one simple question, used with awareness and timing, can stay in her mind long after the conversation ends. Question 2. What makes you different from every other woman I've met? This is where everything changes, and if you use it right, it doesn't just spark interest, it shifts the entire emotional direction of the interaction. Most men walk into conversations already trying to earn approval. They ask safe questions. They try to impress. They explain their value, hoping she sees it. Don't do that. Be different. Be the man who evaluates, not the one waiting to be evaluated. That is the essence of a high-value man. When you ask this question, you quietly take control of the frame. You're not chasing. You're observing. You're deciding. And that subtle shift? It's powerful. Think about it. The moment you ask her what makes her different, you flip the script completely. Instead of you proving your worth, she begins to reflect on hers. She starts thinking, what do I say that stands out? What makes me special? And just like that, she's no longer just responding. She's performing. She's investing. She's trying. I've seen it happen. A woman who is relaxed, almost passive, suddenly sits up straighter. Her voice becomes more animated. She starts choosing her words more carefully. Why? Because now she feels seen, but also measured. And that tension? That's attraction beginning to build. But understand this clearly. Don't ask this question with arrogance. Don't make it sound like a test. You must deliver it with calm curiosity, with grounded masculine energy. That is what separates manipulation from mastery. You're not trying to corner her, you're inviting her to reveal herself. You're saying, without saying, I've experienced a lot. I've met many women. Now show me what makes you stand out. That is confidence. That is presence. That is how you attract women without chasing them. There's a deeper psychological layer here. Women are used to being the selectors. They are often the ones deciding who is worthy of their attention. But when you reverse that dynamic, when you step into the role of the selector, you activate something very instinctive, the desire to be chosen. And that desire creates emotional movement. She starts to invest. She starts to share more. She starts to reveal parts of herself she didn't plan to. And the more she talks, the more she unconsciously tries to win your approval. Now here's the paradox, and this is where it gets interesting. Even when she feels a slight resistance, even when a part of her thinks, why do I have to prove myself? She still continues. She still answers. She still leans in. That internal conflict is not a bad sign. It's actually the spark. It means she's engaged. It means you've disrupted the usual pattern. And in a world where most conversations feel predictable, disruption is attractive. But don't overuse this. Don't turn every interaction into a challenge. That's not strength, that's insecurity disguised as control. Be selective. Use it when the moment feels right. Use it when there's already some level of comfort, some level of connection. Because timing matters. Delivery matters. Energy matters. Without the right presence, even a powerful question falls flat. And remember this, the goal is not to make her feel small. The goal is to make her feel seen and slightly challenged at the same time. That combination creates emotional depth. It creates curiosity. It creates a reason for her to think about you long after the conversation ends. When you operate from this mindset, you stop chasing outcomes. You start creating experiences. You become the man who listens, observes, and chooses. That is what a high-value man does. He doesn't beg for attention. He commands it quietly. He doesn't try to impress. He allows others to reveal themselves. So next time you're in a conversation, don't default to the usual questions. Don't fall into the pattern of seeking approval. Break it. Shift it. Ask with intention, what makes you different from every other woman I've met? Then lean back. Watch. Listen. Let her show you. Because when she starts proving her value to you, when she starts investing without realizing it, that's when attraction begins to grow naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. If you felt that shift, if you understand what just happened in that moment, then you're starting to see the game from a different level. Most men wait to be chosen. You don't. You decide. That is the difference. A high-value man doesn't beg for attention. He evaluates it. He doesn't try to attract women by proving himself. He naturally attracts women because of his presence, his frame, his masculine energy. Don't rush. Don't over-explain. Ask with calm confidence and watch how everything changes. And if you're ready to step into that mindset, drop this in the comments right now. I choose, I don't chase. Like this video, subscribe for more insight, and remember, the moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you become irresistible. Question 3. What do you want that you're afraid to ask for? Question 3 is where the game changes, and you must understand this with absolute clarity. What do you want that you're afraid to ask for is not just a question. It is a doorway into her private world, the part she rarely shows anyone. The part shaped by years of holding back, shrinking desires, and learning to settle. As Marcus Aurelius once said, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and this question forces her to do exactly that, to look within and bring something real to the surface, something unfiltered, something honest. In modern life, where conversations are shallow, distracted, and full of masks, a man who dares to ask this stands apart immediately. He signals depth, presence, and control. He shows he is not there to impress, but to understand. And that alone positions him differently, because most men chase approval, but you must reverse that dynamic. You must become the man who invites truth, not the one begging for attention. Understand this clearly. Women are conditioned to minimize their desires, to ask for less, to expect less, to stay easy and agreeable. Over time, this creates a silent tension inside them, a gap between what they feel and what they express. And when you ask this question at the right moment, you give her permission to close that gap. You give her space to be honest. And honesty creates connection faster than charm ever will. This is old Stoic wisdom in action. Control yourself, observe deeply, and create an environment where truth can emerge. Because power is not in forcing outcomes, it is in guiding them. When she answers, do not interrupt, do not analyze, do not correct, just listen. Because as Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And in that moment, your silence becomes your strength, your calm becomes your authority, your presence becomes her safety. This is where most men fail. They hear something vulnerable and rush to fix it, judge it, or downplay it. But you must not do that. You must hold the frame, acknowledge her words, and let her feel understood. Because that feeling, being seen without judgment, is rare, and rarity creates value. Repeat this to yourself. Do not judge, do not dismiss, do not rush, just listen and validate. Because validation is not weakness, it is precision, it is control, it is the mark of an iron mind. When you respond with something simple like, that makes sense, you are not being passive, you are reinforcing trust. And trust opens doors that effort never can. In today's world of fast texting, surface-level attraction, and endless options, the man who slows things down and creates emotional depth wins. That is Stoicism win in real life. That is how you stand out without chasing. That is how you attract without forcing. Remember this from Seneca: luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And this question is your preparation, but timing is your opportunity. So do not ask it too early. Build rapport first. Create comfort. Establish presence. Then ask it calmly, confidently, without hesitation. And when she opens up, understand what is really happening. She is trusting you with something she hides from most people. And that creates a bond, a subtle but powerful connection that lingers in her mind long after the conversation ends. You must see this clearly. Attraction is not built through constant talking, it is built through moments of emotional impact. And this question creates one of those moments. So carry this with you. Be the man who asks deeper questions. Be the man who listens without reacting. Be the man who creates space instead of noise. Because that is the man people remember. That is the man who moves differently. That is the man with an iron mind, grounded in old Stoic wisdom, living proof that Stoicism win is not theory, it is practice, it is discipline. It is the quiet power of knowing exactly when to speak and when to simply listen. Question 4. What would you do if you weren't afraid of being judged? Question 4 cuts deeper than most men realize because it doesn't just invite conversation, it unlocks identity. And if you understand psychology tricks and female psychology, you'll see why this question carries so much weight. When you ask a woman, what would you do if you weren't afraid of being judged? You are not asking about her current life. You are asking about the life she secretly imagines but rarely dares to speak out loud. And that is where real attraction begins, because people don't fall in love with surface level questions. They fall in love with the feeling of being seen, understood, and accepted without pressure. So don't rush this moment. Don't interrupt. Don't judge. Just listen. Because most women spend their lives adjusting, filtering, holding back parts of themselves to fit expectations. And when you remove that invisible weight, even for a moment, something powerful happens. She starts to reveal who she truly is beneath the social mask. And that version is often bolder, freer, more alive than the one she shows the world. And that is exactly why this question works so effectively in female psychology and how to fall in love dynamics. It creates emotional safety while simultaneously creating emotional intensity, a rare combination that most men completely miss. And here's the truth you must understand. Attraction is not built by impressing, it is built by revealing, by allowing someone to step into a deeper version of themselves in your presence. So when she answers, she may say she'd be more confident, more adventurous, more honest, less apologetic, and as she speaks, she is not just describing a fantasy, she is showing you her suppressed self, the self she wishes she could live every day. And that moment creates a subtle emotional bond because now you are associated with her freedom, with her truth, with the version of herself she longs to become, and that is powerful, that is unforgettable, that is how to fall in love without forcing anything. But don't stop there, because the real mastery of psychology tricks is in the follow-up, and this is where most men fail. You must calmly ask, what's stopping you? And then step back again, because now you are guiding her deeper. Now you are helping her confront the invisible barriers, fear, doubt, past experiences, social pressure, that keep her from becoming that version of herself. And when she begins to articulate those barriers, she is not just opening up, she is trusting you. And trust is the foundation of every strong emotional connection. So be steady, be present, be non-judgmental. That is the key. Because if she senses even a hint of criticism, she will close off instantly. But if she feels accepted, she will lean in, and the conversation will naturally deepen. And here's the deeper layer most people overlook. When you ask this question and hold space for her answer, you are subtly positioning yourself as a man who understands female psychology, a man who sees beyond the surface, a man who is not intimidated by emotional depth, and that alone sets you apart, because most men stay on safe, predictable topics. They play small, they avoid discomfort. But you must not do that. You must be willing to go deeper, because depth creates attraction, depth creates memory, depth creates connection, and in a world full of shallow conversations, The man who can access a woman's inner world becomes unforgettable. So use this question with intention, not as a trick, but as a doorway, because psychology tricks only work when they are grounded in genuine curiosity and emotional intelligence. And if you apply this correctly, you won't just make her interested. You will make her feel understood. And when a woman feels truly understood, she doesn't just enjoy your presence, she begins to crave it. If this opened your eyes, don't just sit there, use it. The right question doesn't chase attention, it unlocks truth. Be the man who sees beyond the surface. Be the one who makes her reveal who she really is. That is where real attraction begins. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp psychological insight, and drop this in the comments right now to lock it into your mindset. I create space for truth, not fear. Question 5. What's something you've never forgiven yourself for? Question 5 cuts deeper than most men ever dare to go. What's something you've never forgiven yourself for? This is not small talk. This is not surface level curiosity. This is a doorway into her inner world, the part she protects, the part she rarely shows, the part shaped by regret, guilt, and quiet self-judgment. Everyone carries something, a decision they wish they could undo, a moment they replay at night, a version of themselves they struggle to accept. That is human. But here's the truth most men miss: shame grows in silence. It hides. It feeds on secrecy. And when you, as a man, create a space where that silence can be broken without fear, something powerful happens. She doesn't just answer your question, she feels seen. She feels safe. And that is where real connection begins. But don't rush this. Don't force depth where there is no trust. That is a mistake. You must understand timing. You must understand emotional safety. A high-value man does not chase vulnerability, he earns it. He builds an environment where she chooses to open up. That is masculine energy at its finest. Calm, grounded, patient. You don't ask this question on the first interaction. You don't drop it casually. You wait. You observe. You create comfort first. Then, when the moment feels right, you ask it slowly, with presence. That is how you attract women on a deeper level, not through tricks, but through emotional intelligence. Now pay attention to what matters most: your reaction. Her answer is not the test. Your response is: don't interrupt. Don't analyze. Don't try to fix her. Be still. Listen. Let her speak. And when she finishes, don't judge. Don't correct. Don't minimize. Be a man who can hold space without needing to control it. Say something simple. Say something real. I understand. That must have been hard. That is enough. That is power. Because when a woman reveals something she hasn't forgiven herself for, she is showing you a part of her that few ever see. If you handle it carelessly, she will close. If you handle it with calm acceptance, she will remember you. This is where most men fail. They think attraction is about impressing, performing, proving. No, attraction is about emotional impact. It's about how she feels when she's with you. And when she feels safe enough to reveal her deepest shame, and you remain steady, grounded, and accepting, you separate yourself from every other man she's met. That is what a high-value man does. He doesn't react emotionally. He responds with strength. Quiet strength. The kind that makes her lean in, not pull away. Understand this clearly. This question is not a tool for manipulation. Don't use it to gain control. Don't use it to expose her weaknesses. Be better than that. Use it to connect. Use it to understand. Because when done right, it creates a bond that is rare. A bond built not on surface attraction, but on emotional truth. And that is what truly attracts women over time. Not flashy words, not rehearsed lines, but presence, depth, emotional discipline. So remember this. Don't rush. Be patient. Build trust first. Then ask with intention. And when she answers, be the man who can handle it. That is masculine energy. That is how you attract women without chasing them. That is how you stand out, not by being louder, but by being deeper. Question 6. If you could only use 3 words to describe who you really are, what would they be? Question 6 cuts deeper than it first appears, and you must understand this. When you ask a woman, if you could only use 3 words to describe who you really are, what would they be? You are not making small talk. You are forcing clarity. You are demanding essence. You are inviting her to step out of the noise and face herself directly. Most people are not used to that level of honesty because modern life rewards performance, not truth, distraction, not reflection. As a result, many people move through life without ever defining who they truly are. They wear roles, titles, masks, but they rarely pause and ask, what is my core? And this is why this question is powerful. It removes the excess, it strips away the story, it leaves only identity. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, meaning what we believe about ourselves shapes everything. So when she chooses 3 words, she is revealing the colors of her inner world, and you must pay attention. You must listen, not just to the words, but to the hesitation, the confidence, the emotion behind them, because that is where the truth lives. Now, here is where most men fail. They ask the question, but stop there. They move on too quickly. They treat it like a game. But you must not do that. You must go further. You must calmly and directly ask, why those 3? Because that is where the real connection begins. That is where she explains her choices, where she reveals her experiences, her values, her struggles, her victories. And this is where you separate yourself from the average man and step into the mindset of an iron mind. Because an iron mind does not chase surface level attraction. It seeks depth. It seeks understanding. It builds connection with intention. And this is exactly what old Stoic wisdom teaches. Focus on what is essential, ignore what is trivial, go straight to the core of things. When you apply this in conversation, you create something rare in today's world: presence, clarity, and emotional impact. Think about it. In a world full of endless scrolling, shallow conversations, and constant noise, how often does someone get asked to define themselves in just 3 words and then be asked to explain it? Almost never. And that is why this question stands out. That is why it creates a shift. That is why it draws her in, because you are offering something different, something real, something grounded in Stoicism win principles. You are not trying to impress. You are trying to understand, and paradoxically, that is what makes you more compelling. Now bring this into modern life, into your daily interactions, whether you are on a date, having coffee, or even in a simple conversation. Do not be afraid to ask deeper questions, but do it with calm confidence. Do it with genuine curiosity, not pressure, not expectation, because people open up when they feel safe, not when they feel tested. And this is where your discipline matters. This is where your presence matters. This is where your iron mind becomes your greatest asset because you stay grounded, you listen fully, you do not interrupt, you do not judge, you simply observe and understand. And that creates a powerful emotional experience. As Socrates said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. So when you guide someone towards self-definition, you are not just creating attraction, you are creating awareness, and awareness leads to connection. Remember this clearly. Do not rush the moment. Do not fill the silence. Let her think. Let her feel. Let her choose her words carefully, because the pause itself carries meaning. And when she answers, acknowledge it, reflect it, show that you heard her, because people are drawn to those who truly listen, not those who simply wait to speak. And this is how you build something deeper, something more meaningful, something that aligns with old Stoic wisdom and the philosophy behind Stoicism when you are not chasing reactions. You are creating impact. You are not seeking validation. You are offering clarity. And in doing so, you naturally elevate your presence. Understand this final truth. When you ask better questions, you create better conversations. When you create better conversations, you build stronger connections. When you build stronger connections, you take control of your social life with calm authority, discipline, and purpose. And that is the mindset of an iron mind: steady, focused, intentional, and always moving toward mastery. Question 7. What do you think I see when I look at you? This is not just a question. This is a doorway, a quiet, powerful doorway into her inner world. Understand this. People don't just want to be seen, they want to be understood without having to explain everything. That is where this question works its magic. It gently pulls her into a space where she begins to reveal the story she tells herself about who she is. Her answer is never random. It is layered with her insecurities, her hopes, her past experiences, and the silent doubts she carries. That is female psychology at its core. What she believes others see often reflects what she secretly fears or deeply desires to be true. So when you ask this, don't rush. Don't interrupt. Be still. Let her speak. Because in that moment, she is not just answering you, she is exposing her internal narrative. And that is where most men fail. They hear the words, but they don't understand the meaning behind them. You must listen deeper. If she says, "You probably think I'm complicated," what she may really be saying is, "I'm afraid I'm too much." If she says, "You might think I'm confident," she may be asking, "Do you really believe in me?" This is where psychology tricks become powerful, not manipulation, but awareness. Awareness of what is being said beneath the surface. Now here is the key. After she answers, don't stay silent. Don't deflect. Don't give a generic response. Be honest. Be specific. That is what creates emotional impact. Tell her what you actually see. Not what you think she wants to hear, but what you genuinely observe. Maybe you see strength in her calm. Maybe you see warmth in her smile. Maybe you see resilience in the way she carries herself. Say it clearly. Say it with certainty. That is how to fall in love, not through lines or performances, but through moments of truth. And understand this. When your words contrast her insecurities in a positive way, something shifts inside her. If she expects judgment and receives understanding, she feels safe. If she expects to be overlooked and instead feels deeply seen, she becomes emotionally invested. That is the quiet power of mastering female psychology. But be careful, this is not a game. Don't use this question lightly. Don't ask it if you're not ready to hold what she shares. Because once she opens up, she is trusting you with something real. And if you respond carelessly, you break that trust instantly. So be grounded, be present, be intentional. Use psychology tricks with responsibility, not ego. Because the goal is not just to attract attention, it is to create connection. Real connection. The kind that makes her feel understood without needing to perform. The kind that makes her feel safe enough to be honest. And that is rare. That is powerful. That is how to fall in love in a way that actually lasts. Question 8. What's a fantasy you've never told anyone? This is not a casual question. This is a door. A quiet, powerful door into her inner world, the part she rarely shows, the part shaped by desire, curiosity, and imagination. Every person carries hidden fantasies, not just about intimacy, but about freedom, expression, and being seen without filters. Understand this. When you ask this question at the right moment, you are not just asking for content, you are offering permission. Permission to be real. Permission to be unguarded. That is where connection deepens. That is where tension builds, not in a cheap or rushed way, but in a slow, magnetic pull that makes her feel both excited and safe at the same time. But don't rush it. Don't force it. Timing is everything. You must only ask this when the conversation already carries emotional warmth, when trust has been built, when she feels comfortable enough to open up. If you ask too early, it feels intrusive. If you ask it right, it feels natural, almost inevitable. That is the difference between a man who tries too hard and a high-value man who understands pacing. Be patient. Be aware. That is masculine energy in action, calm, grounded, and intentional. When she hears this question, something shifts. She pauses. She reflects. And in that moment, she begins to decide whether you are someone who can handle her truth. Not judge it. Not rush it. Not misuse it. You must hold that space with maturity. Listen carefully. Maintain eye contact. Stay composed. Don't react with shock or childish excitement. That is where most men fail. They break the moment. You must protect the moment. That is how you attract women on a deeper level, not through lines, but through presence. Here is the truth most men overlook. The power is not in the fantasy itself, but in how you respond to it. If she shares something vulnerable and you stay calm, curious, and accepting, you create emotional safety. And emotional safety builds attraction faster than anything else. As Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. In that moment, she is stepping closer to that truth, and you are the one witnessing it. That is powerful. That is rare. Don't interrogate. Don't push for details. Let her reveal only what she wants. A high value man knows when to lean in and when to hold back. You must guide, not pressure. You must invite, not demand. That is how masculine energy creates space instead of tension. Ironically, that space is what creates real tension, the kind that lingers, the kind that makes her think about you long after the conversation ends. Also, understand this: fantasies are not always about physical desire. Sometimes they are about freedom, about being bold, about breaking away from expectations. When she shares, she is telling you more about her identity than you realize. Listen between the lines. Pay attention to emotions, not just words. That is how you truly attract women, by understanding what they feel, not just what they say. And remember this rule: never judge, never mock, never diminish. The moment you do, the door closes. Trust disappears. Connection fades. Instead, be grounded. Be respectful. Be slightly playful if the moment allows, but always controlled. That is how a high-value man leads the emotional tone without losing integrity. In modern life, where people are constantly filtered, edited, and afraid of being misunderstood, this kind of conversation stands out. It feels real. It feels rare. And rarity creates value. So don't treat this like a trick. Treat it like an opportunity to connect on a level most people never reach. Be the man who can handle depth. Be the man who listens without fear. Be the man who creates space for truth. That is how you build attraction that lasts. That is how masculine energy becomes unforgettable. If this opened your mind, don't just watch, engage. Like the video, share it with someone who needs to understand deeper connection, and subscribe for more powerful insights. Now take a moment and anchor this mindset. Comment below. I create trust, intimacy, and attraction with confidence and respect. Question 9. What's the truth about yourself you're avoiding? This is not a casual question. This is a mirror, a sharp one. It cuts through distraction, through excuses, through the comfortable stories people tell themselves to stay safe. You must understand this. Every person carries a quiet truth they are avoiding, a truth about their habits, their fears, their relationships, their potential. And as Marcus Aurelius once reminded, if you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's essential. The truth is always essential. Avoiding it creates tension. Facing it creates freedom. When you ask this question, you are not playing games. You are guiding her and yourself toward clarity. That is power. That is presence. That is what sets a man apart in modern life, where most conversations stay shallow, safe, and forgettable. Be intentional. Don't throw this question out lightly. Don't ask it with a smile like it's a joke. Ask it with stillness, with grounded energy, with the kind of presence that says, I can handle the real you. Because most people are starving for that space. In a world of filters, curated lives, and constant performance, very few are ever invited to tell the truth. Real truth. The uncomfortable kind. The kind they whisper to themselves at night. This is where connection becomes real. This is where attraction deepens, not from surface charm, but from emotional courage. You must remember this. People are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to honesty that feels rare. And here is where old Stoic wisdom becomes your advantage. Stoicism teaches you to confront reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. It teaches you to stand firm when things feel uncomfortable. When you embody that mindset, when you live with an iron mind, you naturally create a space where others feel safe to drop their masks. That is not manipulation. That is leadership. Emotional leadership. In relationships, in conversations, in life. Stoicism win is not about control. It's about clarity. It's about truth. And truth is magnetic. But listen carefully, this question is not about exposing someone. It's about inviting them. There's a difference. You must not judge. You must not react emotionally. You must not rush to fix or analyze. Just listen. Be steady. Because once someone shares a truth they've been avoiding, they are vulnerable. And if you handle that moment correctly, with calm, with respect, you create a bond that goes far beyond surface attraction. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This question does exactly that. It brings the unconscious to light. Apply this to modern life. Think about it. People avoid truths about their careers, staying in places they've outgrown. They avoid truths about relationships, staying where they are not fulfilled. They avoid truths about themselves, knowing they could be more disciplined, more focused, more alive, but choosing comfort instead. When you ask this question, you're interrupting that pattern. You are creating a moment of awakening, and that moment is powerful. That moment is unforgettable. Be the man who isn't afraid of depth. Be the man who doesn't hide behind small talk. Be the man who can handle silence, handle truth, handle emotion without losing his center. That is Iron Mind. That is Stoicism when in action. And here's the key. This question works because it reflects your own standard. You cannot ask someone to face their truth if you are running from yours. So live it. Practice it. Face your own avoided truths daily. About your discipline, your direction, your habits, your standards. That is how you build unshakable confidence. Repeat this to yourself. Truth creates clarity. Clarity creates power. Power creates attraction. Don't avoid truth. Face it. Don't soften it. Understand it. Don't fear it. Use it. This is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern connection. This is how you stand out without trying. This is how you build real influence. And when you ask, what's the truth about yourself you're avoiding? You are not just asking a question. You are opening a door. Make sure you are strong enough, calm enough, and wise enough to walk through it. Question 10. What would need to happen for you to feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be? Question 10 may sound simple on the surface, but don't underestimate it. This is one of those psychology tricks that quietly unlocks a woman's inner world and brings her future into focus right in front of you. When you ask, what would need to happen for you to feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be? You are not just making conversation, you're inviting her to step into a vision of fulfillment, clarity, and purpose. That is powerful. That is magnetic. That is how to fall in love without forcing it. Because people don't fall in love with pressure, they fall in love with possibility. Be the man who creates that space. Be the man who asks questions that matter. This question works because it shifts her attention away from problems and into potential. It encourages her to define what right feels like in her life, emotionally, financially, spiritually. And as she begins to describe it, something important happens. She starts to feel those emotions in real time. That is the essence of female psychology. Emotion leads, logic follows. You must understand this. You must respect this. When she speaks about her ideal life, don't interrupt. Don't rush. Don't turn it into a checklist. Listen with intention. That is where connection is built. Because now she is not just talking about a dream, she is experiencing it, and you're the one who opened that door. This is why psychology tricks, when used with awareness and integrity, become tools for genuine bonding rather than manipulation. As she paints that picture, you subtly become part of it, not because you forced your way in, but because you were present when she felt understood. That is how to fall in love in a natural, grounded way. Don't overcomplicate it. Simplicity wins. Presence wins. Depth wins. Many men talk too much. Don't be that man. Ask. Pause. Let silence work for you. Silence is not awkward, it is powerful. It gives her room to expand, to reflect, to go deeper than surface-level answers. And when she does, acknowledge it. Say, that sounds meaningful, or I can see why that matters to you. That is enough. You don't need grand speeches. You need precision. You need calm confidence. Remember, female psychology responds to emotional safety, not performance. If she feels safe expressing her vision without being judged or corrected, she will associate that feeling with you. That is the connection. That is the attraction. And here's the subtle truth most men miss. When someone defines their ideal future out loud, they begin to evaluate who fits into it. Without pressure, without force, she will start to wonder, does this man align with that vision? That is where your actions must match your presence. Don't pretend. Don't exaggerate. Be real. Because if your energy aligns with what she described, you won't need to convince her of anything. She will feel it. And feeling is everything. Use psychology tricks like this not to control outcomes, but to deepen understanding. That is the difference between manipulation and mastery. If you want to know how to fall in love in a way that lasts, you must learn to guide conversations toward meaning, not distraction, toward purpose, not noise, toward clarity, not confusion. This question does exactly that. It brings her back to herself. And when a woman feels more like herself around you, she will naturally want more of your presence. That is the game at a higher level. That is where attraction becomes effortless. Hey, good to have you here, my friend. Now listen carefully. Knowing these questions is one thing. Using them the right way is everything. Don't rush. Don't try to impress. Be calm. Be present. Ask with real curiosity, not with an agenda. Because the moment you turn this into a trick, you lose all the power. But when you ask with sincerity, when you truly listen, that's when something real begins to happen. Here's the truth most people ignore. People don't open up because of clever words. They open up because they feel safe. So be that man. The one who doesn't judge. The one who doesn't rush. The one who actually hears what's being said, and even what's not being said. And here's my honest advice to you. Don't use these questions to control anyone. Use them to understand. Use them to build something real. Because real connection, the kind that stays in someone's mind long after you're gone, only comes from truth, patience, and respect. Take your time. Ask less, feel more. And always remember, the right question, asked with the right heart, can change everything. Stay steady. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.